chocolate chip banana bread. And the first step that we have to do is to make buttermilk. Personally, I don't buy buttermilk and I don't keep it on hand because it goes bad and I don't use it in every recipe and I really hate throwing away food. So I learned a simple trick to make my own buttermilk. We have milk on hand at all times because I have kids, and vinegar never goes bad. So I take a tablespoon of vinegar and I pour it into a 1 cup measure. And then I take milk and fill up the cup until we get to 1 full cup. And then 10 minutes later, we'll come back and have buttermilk. In the first step to making banana bread, we have to mash bananas. In my house, when my children and my husband see bananas that look like this, that are this brown color, they get very excited because that means banana bread will be made soon. So the first thing we do, peel the banana. I put them into my mixing bowl because I have a lot of stuff I'm going to add to it. 3 bananas will usually give me about 1 cup of mashed bananas. And that's what I need. And we're just gonna, I have this fancy tool that my mother-in-law bought me that mashes up bananas really easily. If you don't have it, a simple fork or a pastry blender, even a potato masher will do. So there is our mashed up bananas. To that we are going to add 3 cups of plain white sugar, 1.5 cups of brown sugar, and 3 teaspoons of vanilla. And just mix right in. Until it becomes like a paste. And then we're ready to go to the next step. The next step is to mix the other wet ingredients. So we have 6 eggs. We have that cup of buttermilk we made earlier. We're going to add to it. And 1.5 cups of vegetable oil. And then we are going to lightly mix those together. Really, you just want to break up the egg yolks to make sure that they blend in. And then we're going to take this mixture and add it to our bananas and sugar. And stir it all around until everything is mixed together. Now I use my mixer. All I really need is a bowl and a whisk, and I can do all of this. I just like my mixer because it's easier. And then we're going to move on to the dry ingredients. The next step is to mix our dry ingredients together. We have 5¼ cups of flour. I have 3 teaspoons of baking soda. And I have 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm just going to stir those together lightly. Then we're going to add this to the mixing bowl with our banana mixture in it. And then we're going to head over to the mixer. So now they are lightly combined. Now our mixing bowl has all of our ingredients in it except for the chocolate chips because that's the part we had last. We put it in the mixer with the paddle attachment and then turn it on. I want it to mix just slightly. I don't want to over mix because that makes your bread really tough. And we want it to be soft and moist. And that is all it takes. So you don't even really need the mixer. I just use it because it's easier on me. But you could really do this just by hand. Okay, so now that we have lightly mixed our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients, it is time to add the best part, which is the chocolate chips. You have to add chocolate chips by hand. Don't try using a mixer, and don't try a whisk. You'll break up the chocolate chips and make them into little pieces, and we want bigger pieces. So what I do is I start by adding just 2 cups and see where that gets me. I want a good ratio of chocolate to banana bread. So we're going to add the other cup. That's 3 cups total of chocolate chips. And then it's time to grease our pans. Okay, so our next plan is to grease the pans. I make my own pan grease. I've mentioned it before, but it's good to mention again. I take a cup of vegetable oil, a cup of solid vegetable shortening, and a cup of flour, and I put it in my mixer until it gets all combined and nice and thick like this. And what that does is make sure that the bread is going to come out from the pan evenly without any issues. No sticking to the pan at all. And the other thing that I do is I put it all on one large baking sheet to bake in my oven. First of all, it's easier to get in and out. And if anything spills over, it goes on the baking sheet and not on my oven. So I don't have to spend hours cleaning the bottom of my oven because something overflowed. Now we're going to pour the batter into our greased pans. I fill them about 2/3 full. And I make 5 to 6 loaves of banana bread at a time because we freeze it. And my family always likes to know that there is banana bread in the freezer ready for them whenever they're ready for it. It's really easy. It keeps for at least 6 months in the freezer. And all you have to do is put some saran wrap or tin foil over it and slide it in. Now we take an oven that is preheated to 325 degrees, and we'll cook the banana bread for about an hour. So normally my banana bread bakes for an hour. This time it took about an hour and 10 minutes. But I did the toothpick test, so we have to put a toothpick in and make sure that it comes out clean. And once it does, you know that your banana bread is done. Now this needs to cool for about an hour, and then we'll wrap up 4 of the loaves and throw them in the freezer, and we'll eat the other one tonight.